Shooting it raw?
Yes, shooting it raw.
Um, so now I run an animation studio, but before this, I actually had a video production company which made videography and photography. I started to do this as a like a cameraman and as a photographer, like doing service for clients, for friends, and it's really maybe this is quite ordinary story. Like you grab a camera and then you can't like your life is very much changed since that moment. So I was behind the scenes. I was working in frame as a model or as a like a narrator. So I just tried different angles in this profession.
That's great. Please correct me when I mispronounce your name. So it's Yuriy Polyashko?
That's right.
Okay, that's right. Oh, good. Okay. Thank you. First of all, thank you for joining me on Shooting It Raw. Somehow we're going to get around to answering the question of, if life is a gift, how do we make every second count? And through your 4 photos, I will share and I will learn and just get to know you. And so thank you for joining me. Really nice to meet you.
Yeah, that's totally mutual. And before we start maybe discussing the particular photography, and you asked like my relation to photography, I have a friend, and she once told me that important like moments in life, people normally like make pictures. But the really essential moments in life, it's good not to make pictures at all. So it's good to make pictures with your eyes and with your like perception of the moment. And I just noticed her once just standing and looking at something beautiful, and she said, "I'm doing the picture for my memory." It's like remembering, which is like more important than just taking a particular picture.
That's great. I love it. Okay. No, that's good. I mean, I do like it in the sense of because in a way you can remove yourself, right? By putting a camera between your eye and whatever. Unless it's an accidental snapshot or, street photography where you're not looking through the frame.
I guess like many years ago when people didn't use photography so much as today, if you lost some moment to picture it, you were like very jealous you didn't do this and
Mm,
you were very pity. Today, you know that if you didn't do some picture, you like remember that moment very, very nice. So it's
right.
like vice versa.
Okay. Okay, great. So let's jump into your first photo. I'm really curious. Yuri, you're in Miami. You just moved to Miami, yes?
That's right, just 3 weeks ago.
Oh, welcome. Amazing. Yeah, so you have a very nice tan. You're looking good. Okay, let's go to your first photo. Okay, so it's a photo. Somebody's photographing a kind of an office.
Mhm.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people working, but there's also a young boy holding up his hands in a red T-shirt.
Yeah.
He's got glasses, short hair, very sweet. I think that's you, right, at the desk, or
Good
maybe
guess.
not. Maybe not. I can't
Good
tell.
guess. Actually, no, no, it's not
It's not
me.
you, okay?
There is no me on this picture. I'm doing this picture. This picture is remarkable due to this is an excursion to animation studio.
Oh, nice.
To be honest, like maybe the first or the second year, we just were making the first steps as animation company, and the office was just barely this single room and this several people. And my friend, she's one of those women standing.
Mm-hmm.
She said, "Oh, I have I have children, and they would so admire like excursion and trip to animation studio. It's like sounds like a magic." I say, "Hey, it's not like we are not Pixar, we are not like Disney. It's not like going to Disney World at all. It's just
It's
people
humble.
working." She said, "No matter, I just want to bring my children there, and they will be amazed whatever they see." I say, okay, just come. and, and we try
Nice.
to be as open, just as sharing as possible to like show the children how the cartoons are done.
Nice. Okay. Why don't you explain to the listener what kind of okay, Yuri is you're from the Ukraine, yeah?
Yeah, I'm totally from Ukraine. All my life I spent in Ukraine.
Okay, and you just moved to Miami 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, yeah. I run an animation studio in Ukraine, and the core team is based in Ukraine right now, and in Ukrainian cities and the countries around Ukraine. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. It's so on the podcast, I think it's fascinating that Ukrainians, like my connection with Ukrainians has always been around artistry and creativity. It's very strange. Okay, so let me run it by you for a second. First, I think I had one guy. Well, I had one guy on the podcast who made shishas, but then did he make shishas? And he also made costumes, right? So
Hmm.
he worked in Hong Kong making costumes.
Hmm.
Another one is a photographer.
Hmm.
And then when I went back to Canada for a trip to Toronto, and I met some guy who's also Ukrainian, and he also made shishas, which is very strange. And then I meet you, and you do computer animation. Now you don't know this about me, but in university, right? So when I was in my early 20s, for 3 or 4 years, I worked full time as a 2D computer animator.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah. So the 2D animation studio that you have. Okay, so why are we talking about this?
Well, so just a couple of words about following up this Ukrainian thing. Ukrainians really, I would say, shy people, but those who want to spread the word about Ukraine, they are mostly creative and open, and they try
Okay,
to be noted by the world community, creating some good things. That what can I say?
interesting.
Um,
Okay,
well,
okay. So Here's another interesting overlay. You Did you flee from the Ukraine, or did you move from the Ukraine recently? Like in terms of because were you leaving as an immigrant from the war, or were you fleeing, or did you leave for different reasons?
that's a very, very keen question, I would say. Actually, um, on the background, like most people now flee from Ukraine. So really flee
Mm,
from the war and from hard situation to live.
yeah.
Me is not like a very typical case because I've been working with the United States clients like for years. I've been like learning language, watching films, like learning culture and everything from the United States. I was like fond of United States culture and mentality and so on. So I basically made my dream like moving here. Uh, I like Ukraine. I have like Ukrainian relatives and friends and community
Yeah,
and
it's your home.
studio and business, but still, I think that the United States is the place much to learn, where
Hmm.
like you can broaden your worldview, like your understanding of people, of the variety of people, of diversity of things, of technologies, and so
Hmm.
on. So for me, it was like a big goal to move here, and actually, this war gave the opportunity to do this. So I consider it more as opportunity.
Okay, interesting. Yuri, like, here's another interesting overlay, right? Right now, as we're recording this, it's weeks after what happened, in Israel with Hamas, basically just completely turning the country upside down. I was born in Israel.
Oh.
So there are a lot of people asking themselves, and I don't want that to overtake or overshadow our conversation,
Mm-hmm.
but just that, listen, we're talking as two human beings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when did you leave Ukraine? And where did you live in Ukraine? Like, how far from?
I've been living in Kiev, in the capital of Ukraine.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, but
Wow.
just to like maybe wrap or just shape the thought about Israel. So you mean is there any parallels or what did you want?
No. Listen, I'm just saying that, like, no. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that personally. Okay, personally, what you bring to the conversation is your life and experience, and I'm going to share that.
I see.
But also personally, I'm coming as me, right?
Yeah. The like essential thing about Israel and for Ukrainians is that Ukrainians like deeply understand Israel now, because it's just when you get into the very similar situation, you don't need any words because you feel how it happens. You just know this from inside. You don't need to describe whether it's like a bad, whether it's good, how is it safe. It's like very bad, very unsafe, and like the worst thing could be. So all
Yeah.
other problems just no matter in this moment.
Well, let me then bring it back to, as you're speaking, let me bring it back to the photograph. So in the photo, the walls are all yellow. So is this office in Ukraine, or is it?
Right.
Yeah, this is your shop.
It's one of the first offices in Ukraine. And
Okay.
we changed like lots of locations, but this is just an apartment we rented, and this is very small.
Okay.
And just again to continue a conversation, the guy you see in the middle, in the in the shirt, like he is actually. There was a period I had this animator. He is from Afghanistan, and at that moment he was fleeing from Afghanistan to Ukraine. Yeah, he was a very quite unusual like person. I mean, it's like all the other people here are Ukrainians, like normal Ukrainians born in Ukraine, but this guy is
Right.
from Afghanistan. He told us stories. He was very person with very unique experience, and he told us what happened in Afghanistan, and it was terrible as well.
Wow. So the animation so obviously you're an entrepreneur, so business owner. So you started this studio with your friends, yeah, and then you're making 2D animation or 3D animation or anything.
We specialize on 2D animation, and I would say it's commercial 2D animation, which is normally called explainer videos, which are
Okay,
like advertisement videos for IT companies, startups, and technological companies, like websites and so on.
got it.
So it's mostly 2D animation with characters or infographics.
Nice. Okay. And then your clients, you said, were mostly in the US.
I would say it's like more than half of them are in the US, big part in the Western Europe, and other countries as well, like Israel, Australia, Japan. So like just whatever country in the world
Yeah,
needs animation, we work with it.
got it. Okay. Well, okay. So what is the experience? Your studio is in Ukraine, but your body is in Miami. Or Miami.
Yeah.
However, so how are you traveling a lot? Like, how are you what's your life like then?
Well, this from one point of view, this sounds like how it can be. From the other point of view, this is very, very natural. I would say, was sitting in Kiev and working in the office, like people come into the office, like you see them every day. I could not imagine. I was trying to imagine how it work to do it, like if I go abroad and so on. I was it was hard for me. But when you do this, everything becomes like realistic, and you just continue to do what you can and
Normal.
what you have to. Of course, the biggest like challenge is the time difference,
Yeah.
and still you just have to adjust everything. But before this move, we also had to adjust all our calls with like international clients. It was just the same
Right, right,
thing. So
right.
you just adjust the call. People in different parts of the world, it's totally okay. Even our like staff was with the war was redistributed around different like countries and time zones, and we also had to do this. So just adjusting your time to the other people's time, like we just adjusted one for this podcast, it's like part of the more complicated reality.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's normal. You just use software that like Google Calendar allows you to do this. It's totally like normal. It's doable, and that's why.
Interesting. It's funny how, there's always the sort of the intersections and kind of coincidences and the weirdness. I didn't expect that you have this 2D animation studio. I knew you were from the Ukraine, and that's been, something. But okay, let's go on to the next photo. It's called Top of the Mountain with the Right People.
Uh,
Oh, well, okay, okay. What a different feeling. So let me describe it. Okay.
okay.
I love this. Okay. So there are two guys dressed mostly in black and in running shoes, sneakers, uh, putting up with their one hand, they're giving a thumbs up to the photographer, and they're both holding up a Ukrainian flag.
Mhm.
They're smiling broadly. And then behind them are probably 1 or 200 people, maybe, yeah. But they're standing on a very kind of rounded hill, and there's fog. There's like the light is very diffuse, like so maybe it's either really high up in the clouds, which probably yeah. I guess this looks like a bunch of people who went hiking up a tall hill, and it's weird because in the background in the fog you can just see these like stone almost monoliths, maybe 3 meters tall by, let's say, I don't know, 15 feet tall, and by about I don't it's hard to tell because it's kind of faded out of the way. One guy is standing with like a plastic sort of rain thing. So this, yeah, and the ground is completely right. So the color tone of the image is really interesting. So half of the image is really diffuse white cloud that's just soft, and the bottom is like this ground cover, and there's no green, there's no grass, there's no life. It's nothing. There's nothing. No plant. It's just stone and dirt. Two people summing. Is that you? You must be holding the flag. Is that you holding the flag?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so what's this? Top of the mountain.
Okay, and so sorry, there's like a little bit off top. So the listeners won't see the photos, or will?
They will if
Ah,
they go on YouTube or if they go on the
okay,
website. Then they can see the photos.
okay, okay.
You must be thinking this is such a weird podcast that we're talking
Oh,
about
this
photos.
is quite an original concept, I would say.
Okay,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Original. That's like, oh, it's very original. Really nice, interesting smile.
It's true. Not well, about this picture. So this picture is made in Ukraine. It's the tallest Ukrainian's mountain. We have
Mm,
mountains in Ukraine, in the west of the country, which is called Carpathians. And
hmm.
this mountain is called Hoverabla, which is the tallest. It's like a little bit more than 2 kilometers. not like
Okay, 2,000 meters. Yeah. Okay.
2000 meters.
For
Not
Americans, it's about 6,000 feet.
yeah, good idea
For
to know this.
Americans, yeah.
Uh, so basically, it's not a hard hike. It's a hike.
Hmm.
It's not like an alpinism or something like this. It's like couple of hours, quite hard, but hiking. And most people in Ukraine, like a lot of people in Ukraine, they just do this in their lives. It's not like something incredibly hard to do.
Right.
It's you just go and do this. Um, and this hiking was made by a group of people, which is the business club that was in Ukraine.
Okay.
I was like part of that business club. Was a trip for those who wanted, and the guy here, I just met him like as a part of this group. His name is also Yuri, by the way. He's also
Hmm.
from this business club. I just why I like named this as on the top of the right people. For me, the idea of this photo and this moment is that you when you do like some important things in your life, it's cool to make them with great people, because you
Hmm.
remember either your achievement or details of the moment or people with whom you did it, and you want to share this like emotion, um, your like success, I would say,
Yeah.
and just share your thoughts. It's good to share with good people who understand you, who did the same experience,
Sure.
who just can share your thoughts. Mhm.
Right. Because in the photo, for people who can't see it or whatever, I mean, there are a lot of people on top of this on this hill, and it's quite interesting because, okay, so I'm in Hong Kong, and 2,000 meters, so about this tall is, I think it's about the height. It's a little higher than the tallest peak in Hong Kong, right?
Okay.
So in the whole of the Ukraine, that's the tallest peak. So had no idea the Ukraine was so flat, so small. It's so.
Most of the country, no mountains, just small hills. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And so, okay, that's really, and whereas, okay, here's another difference. At the top of the hills here in Hong Kong, super green, like jungle,
Mm.
like just radically different. And so here it's interesting because there's no, what time of the year was this?
Was September, like
Okay.
September. Yeah, there is no green things, no trees on the top, but when you just go up, you normally like pass grass, like a lot of grass.
Right.
It's just on the very top, like nothing.
Okay. So
Mhm.
okay. So that's okay. So let's do that then. Because my business, my job is to look at service leadership or to help teams work better together and happier together. And so I've spent a lot of time looking and consulting with business owners. And so you're a business owner, you're an
Mhm.
entrepreneur,
Mhm.
you're part of this business group that went up on this hike. So why don't you talk about, like, what if I were to look inside your head, into your brain, and try to find like that little seed or place where the beginnings of this notion of starting a business came up to you? Like, what's the root of you becoming a business owner? What do you like if you were to talk to other, because this is a group of business owners, I guess, and these are the right people that you've walked up the top of the mountain with. So what do you think connects all of you intellectually, philosophically?
For me, any kind of like business entrepreneurship or whatever is always a wider like responsibility, worldview, like spectrum of things to do than most of people who work as a hired person. It's like
Okay.
always. It's like the better game. The like game with more possibilities, with more rewards, with more like intrigue and surprises, and it's just like a more full life. So
Hmm.
I would say that like specialists could be really high level specialists, but they are just in most cases they need others to give them job or to give them the framework. Uh, Businessmen are normally people who search for possibilities themselves. They don't wait until somebody will give them the possibility to the job or the money or whatever. And that's very open system, like network.
Hmm.
I feel it like everywhere in Miami, in Ukraine, in other countries. So businessmen are normally more open and more mm, interactive, I would say, with others.
Sure. Okay, that's I mean I love that. I love what you just said. Really interesting.
Thank you.
And just because you said that in that particular way, if I were to separate the group that you were with, how many were male and how many were female?
Most male, mostly male.
Okay, that's interesting.
I don't know about other countries, but in Ukraine, most entrepreneurs are basically males.
Okay. Now, it's also interesting to me that you ended up in Miami, which I believe the tallest point in Miami is like 100 meters or 200 meters tall. It's basically flat, 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 flat.
Totally.
Uh, and it's also subtropical. So it's super, super, super green. And, like one thing that we share in common is in your part of the world now, people have released Burmese pythons, which are these, massive snakes. And Hong Kong has naturally Burmese pythons, which are massive snakes. That's really okay. That's really great. Okay, so yes, so it's interesting that in your head is this thing called entrepreneurship and possibility and potential and creating something out of nothing or whatever. And I love what you said about a specialist is that you give them a frame or structure, and then they get into it, and that's what they work from there. Whereas you create the frame of the structure.
Yeah.
So why don't you talk about the connection of the USA specifically as an attractor to you, as a business person, as an entrepreneur, and why Miami?
Um, it was not a like obvious and easy choice. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I think for most of people outside the United States, there are two like main like points on the map, which is New York and California. Uh,
Yeah.
I actually moved here with my wife and a small kid, like 10 months old kid,
Oh
and
wow!
I needed to think.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
I needed to think about my like needs and intentions and
Mm-hmm.
my wife's. I want my wife to be happy as well as me. So it's my wife is not like a businessman. She is more
Mm-hmm.
like very feminine person, very I don't know, creative and so on. And she
Mm-hmm.
likes warm weather and ocean. When you
Nice.
think of the United States where it's possible, well, California seemed to be a good choice because there is an ocean, nice weather, and very like a lot of technological companies, which I
Mm-hmm.
personally admire. And we wanted to move to LA first, but then we started to check the facts, look what's happening there. We discovered that problem number one is cold ocean, which is
Right.
not
Very
good.
cool. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Good for surfers, but not good for for just those who love ocean. The other reason is very, very high prices, like extremely high
Yep.
prices. So for Ukrainian, even for businessmen, so it's like a kind of a factor you need to consider. Still, we discovered that. there are a lot of friends we have in Miami. Miami is evolving.
Hmm.
During pandemic, lots of people from California moved to Miami, like startups and so on. And Miami combines the good climate, the good ocean, and uh, and generally there is a huge community here, and this is like quite a big city and big
That's
community.
huge.
Uh, that's why we have chosen it.
I love it. Okay, well, let's say goodbye to the mountain and move on to the next photo. Okay. Oh, blackout experience. Okay, 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 okay. Wow, this is. Who made this photo? Did you make this photo?
Actually, no, it's not my photo. It's I actually don't know the author of the photo. I just use it in my um, post when it happened.
So what it is a photo of a cityscape from high above. So probably, I mean, I don't know, 200 or 300 meters up. And so on the right third of the image is water. So it's flat, dark, inky because it's taken at night. And on the left quarter is the city. And so you can just see some tall buildings, but not super tall, not like Hong Kong tall of like, 50 floors, maybe 10 floors, maybe 20 floors maximum. There's a smokestack. The image is mostly underexposed, not underexposed. Like there's just not a lot of light because it's taken at night, but you can see that there's a road, there's a main avenue, and there's the lights from cars coming forward, so it's white lights, and then cars going away, which is red, like the tail lights. But it's fundamentally super dark, and the buildings are mostly black. Some lights here and there, and they're quite orange. It could be candlelight or something, but yeah. So it looks like a photo during a power outage,
Yeah.
blackout experience. What is this?
Well, this is a photo of Kiev, and this is one of my favorite. This is actually my favorite district neighborhood in Kiev, which is called Podil. Uh, Podil is not the central part, but it's one of the close to the center, and it's
Hmm.
very creative district. Lots of students, university, like bars, like nice walking area, and like people really have great festivals there and have like nice time. This photo is taken in, I guess it was like a year ago, when
Oh, wow.
the blackouts began. Uh, Blackouts, like several blackouts, like just outages, like several hour outages, different problems with electricity in Kiev. And
Mm.
um, and actually, it's not mine for again, but I'm so much impressed with it, and I when I look at it, I feel it being there because
Hmm.
everybody who was in Kiev and in other cities with outages at that time have quite a unique experience. Um,
Hmm.
for example, I live in on the 17th floor, and when it's outage, you just walk on the stairs.
Yep.
You normally use candles. You normally use like hand lights. You understand that most of the things don't work. So if you want to go somewhere, you need to call and know if they work with outage and they have like generator or the batteries or whatever, or don't.
Hmm.
You are searching for a place where internet works because when it's
Right.
outage, like internet also doesn't work. It was like a very strange experience. You understand that most people in the world don't experience it like in their normal life. Mm, it's not the situation like it's not unsafe situation, but it's very uncomfortable.
Sure. So okay. So just a few questions. Like actually 100,000 questions. What's the population of Kiev? roughly, so I can have a sense of how big it is. Like, how big of a city is this?
It's around 3.5 million.
Okay. Okay. And was this particular, okay, so the power, is it nuclear power or is it
Um,
fossil fuels?
Mostly it's coxal, you say, yeah?
Coal?
Coal, yeah, yeah, yeah. But Kiev has, as far as I remember, three big coal stations, power stations,
Okay.
and it's mostly this. And also there is one like hydro station on Dnieper River.
Yeah. Now, was this a power outage because of bombing?
Sure, that's definitely it's just the only reason.
Dude, take us, like, tell us the story. Just because okay, so what, it's like from the outside,
Hmm.
from the experience of somebody not with no frame of reference, right? All we know is suddenly in the news there's this like insanity of attacks on Ukraine, and the world is trying to make sense of it, right? And the parallels to what's going on this month, of course, can't be just. But anyway, so tell us the story of what was it like to be you in that context? Like how did your brain change?
Um, I think it's if to tell all the intensity of events and facts and like thoughts was so huge, maybe it was like the most intense period in my life. It's like
Hmm.
every day you like a lot of facts and information bomb your like consciousness. But
Hmm.
I will just grab some particular facts from my life and my experience. It's not like new things, it's just my own facts.
Please. Yeah.
So, fact number one is I lived in 17th floor. From that, I had a great view on the city, and one of the points on the horizon was the this power plant. So one day I was just drinking the coffee in the morning, like 9 or 10 in the morning, and I saw the bombs coming, and I saw the smoke and the
Holy shit.
like I see that the power station is bombed. The power station is like maybe 10 kilometers from my house, so it's like quite long way, but I see and I
Not that far.
expect.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, not very far, but I see and I expect that there will be an outage. There will be like switching off the heating and switching off the internet. So these three things switching off. So and
you're very focused on the internet.
uh, internet is wow.
It's
It's
your
literally
lifeblood. I understand.
it's actually my all my business is digital.
Yep.
And I don't know, internet is like essential for many spheres of life. It's not only for me, like I'm not because it's not because I won't be able to watch YouTube. It's maybe because of I don't know,
It's your work.
some doctors will not reach other doctors. I don't know. So
Hmm.
I think it's essential. Banks and
Yep.
so on. Uh, yeah, so that was the first fact. So I saw it, right? But as soon as it happens like every day you could get used to it, and this picture was like taken in October or just whatever. And then I remember another fact that there was a New Year night, so it's like New Year night, and there were lots of bombings, like lots of rockets coming like right in the night.
Oh wow.
And again, I was standing and watching the window, and I saw those things on the sky, and there was no fear. You like watch it as a show because you know that you don't control it, you know that you can't do anything about it. It's war going on, and you just have this as a fact in your life. So you understand that outages is, well, they're happening all the time. So you're just going through this hard period, and you're just getting used. It's bad thing being used to it. And now, when I left Ukraine and I understand how peaceful the sky is here and in other
Mm-hmm.
countries, and people don't have this in mind, they have just different like mindset at all. And I'm so pity for those who still in Ukraine who experience these bad things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But generally people really get used to everything. Like even to bombs falling from the sky every day. So it's hard to imagine when you don't experience it right now, but but there's a big question. So why people are standing in a very dangerous places in Ukraine? Why don't they leave? Why don't they move? But they would all answer that they used to it. They just they
Mm-hmm.
know they live with this threat.
Yeah. For so long. Yes.
Yeah, it's just a part of life, and I'm so much afraid that those people will be transformed. I mean, they will not be as happy as before war. Like
Mm-hmm.
this will be a big spot on their psyche, on their,
Yeah.
I don't know, they will not be happy, I would say. That's very, very,
It's like ongoing trauma,
mhm.
ongoing stress. um. Yeah. So, are you still? I mean, you must have you have friends and family in Kiev, right? Or
Yeah,
across the country,
yeah,
obviously.
sure, sure. Like in many cities and in Kiev, talking with them every day.
So it must feel like you're in another world because I've been to Florida and I also kind of know a little bit of what the the area is like. So it must feel like yeah, like what does it feel like for you to kind of wake up in the morning when you first open your eyes and kind of go, okay, yeah, I'm here. I'm in Florida or I'm in
Um,
Miami.
Let me just switch it a little bit to Poland because
Sure.
actually I left Ukraine like 5 months ago, and it the most intense like impressions and feelings were in Poland when I crossed the border, and it's Poland. It's another country like very close to Ukraine, and you just understand that people are relaxed. They're smiling, like everything is working, no curfew. Like planes are just flying in the skies. It's like a miracle. You just
Mm-hmm.
watch everything like miracle. Several days I was just walking down the city, a small town, and I was just couldn't believe it's like a different life. Now in the United States, I feel that it's like totally different planet. So it's not like,
Mm-hmm.
but that time, those first days after leaving the country, it was so big contrast. It like incredibly big contrast. And I now just talking to people in Ukraine, my friends, and I understand that they they're depressed, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
ongoing depression all the time. They just don't believe in good things. It's hard.
I know that the power of hope for the future is extremely, to have no hope for the future for a person is the worst. And so, for example, and I'm sorry to, well, this has turned out to be quite a intense conversation, but it's like all these places, be they Ukraine or Israel or the Palestinian territories or Palestine, if saying Palestinian territories is too sensitive. Anyways, so what is your feeling now that you're out of there? Like what are you like? What is it like to be like? What is the main or what are some of the feelings that you have now that you're waking up in the morning in a place that's sunny, bright, and colorful?
Um, my just I have a very simple like feeling and situation. My life is like just reloaded. It's like you reset your
Hmm.
computer or whatever. So I have like totally different picture, totally different people. They're smiling like me. Just have nothing with me, just two suitcases, and that's it. So
Hmm.
like everything new, everything different standards, like miles, not
Yep.
kilometers, and so on. So you just do your first steps in a different like world, I would say.
Okay.
So and Ukraine and everything that's happening like it I have in my life I have just moved several times to different places. I just born in one place, just moved there, then I was studied, then I moved to Kiev and so on. So this is like another big move. But this move is so huge that it like pushed myself to leave most of the things where they are. And
Okay.
and and you leave not because you just don't like them or just because you understand I understand that I can't change the reality. So I just have to leave it because if I don't leave it, I will just I will be just buried there. It's like
Sure.
you need to make that push yourself to something new, to build something new. So I just trying to build my life and my family's life
Hmm.
and my business life just from zero. I mean, like like I yeah. It's
With a
actually
10
not
month old.
actually not a bad experience. It's a very unique experience, and I don't think like most people have it, but it's very cool chance to do things right.
Okay. Well, a very cool chance to do things right is my cue to move on to the next photograph.
Okay.
Okay. This is called Over the Horizon. And oh, it's fantastic. Okay. So it's morning light. The sky has very soft kind of clouds, it's blue, white, all the stuff. In the
It's actually
foreground
sorry, it's
is
actually sunset.
sunset. Sorry, okay, no problem. So totally wrong, but sunset, that's fine. And then in the immediate foreground, is whoever the photographer is standing on the road, shooting into what looks like sage and other like dryish kind of plants. And somebody or the city or something put up these words. It is not the end of the world. Oh, dude, I love that. It's actually in between to what looks like a highway, a raised highway, and another road or whatever. It is not the end of the world. I love it. Okay. Why? What? Who? How? What is this? I love it.
Uh, you you like missed most of the things on this picture because it's tricky.
Okay, okay, okay.
And I will reveal it with pleasure.
Please. Yes, please do.
So this is a very unique place in Italy.
Oh, okay.
Turin is a place I lived for a month and a half before like after the Ukraine and before the United States. So it's like I was
Okay.
waiting there. Uh,
Yeah.
it's a very cool city, underestimated definitely, and this particular place very much impressed me. This is actually a road, but it's not a highway. It's a road on the top of the building.
Oh,
It's
what? Okay.
it's not a road itself. It's how is it called?
It's like a
It's a
parking.
track. No, it's a track for testing cars. Uh,
Oh,
I didn't. I did see this location in some videos in the internet, like very old, black and white. It's a building of a Fiat company. The
okay.
the you know this brand.
Yeah,
That's
Fiat, Fiat. Yeah,
yeah
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. The brand, yeah.
This is actually the factory for cars in Turin. They built this like very innovative building with the car track on the roof to
On the
test
roof.
new cars. So for now, it's not used, and the building is just like a shopping center or just an office center, and they made a park out of that track, so you just can go there, admire the city, and so on. So it's very nice place, and and for me, it was like the last days in Europe. After this, I just bought a ticket and fly to Miami. And I discovered this sign saying it's not the end of the world. It was very like close to my feelings at that time. I understood that whenever you come, it's not the end point, so you can move further if you want, and if you like
Mm-hmm.
ambitious person, you will just move, move, and move. So it's not about always about moving on the ground, but it's moving on your development, learning, like business, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of inspiring thing for me.
That's super inspiring. And I love the fact that, so it's on the roof. And okay, so it's sunset, so the light is nice and golden. And the letters are in this really bright, intense blue. Like it's like deeper than sky blue, but it's almost indigo. It's this amazing blue. And it's got the plants, and you say it's got a track or road on top of the building. And it's just like, it is not the end of the world. Okay. So what okay, so if we're going to say that there's this story connecting, the photo of your studio, with the kid holding it in the red t-shirt, looking at us at a monitor while you guys are making 2D animation, and then you've got two business owners in a group, you on the top of the hill, sorry, mountain, holding up the Ukrainian flag, giving the thumbs up. And then you've got the image of Kiev at night. And then you've got this, it is not the end of the world, which is an uplifting kind of, it's a bit like, really, the phrase, or the phrase "it is not the end of the world" is kind of like absurd, right? It's a little bit absurd because it's like, at least, to put this fake, these beautiful plants on top of this building with this road on top of the building, like, it's just an absurd sort of moment, right? So why don't you talk about that absurd? I'm just sort of emotionally responding to this in terms of what is the lesson here?
Well, when we just talking before this podcast took place, you said just to choose those pictures out of my life, and
Hmm.
I would say that this all these pictures are essential moments for me. Uh, I just I just put this picture as the force and just completing this sequence because it says that this is just the beginning. I mean, like end point is just the beginning of something new, and not the end of the
Right.
world means like you never have to stop in your curiosity, learning, and in your goals.
Hmm.
So there will be much more like in my life and in everybody's life who will say to himself or herself that there is much more in future.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, I was
Um,
just listening to this historian talking, who's essentially saying, I mean, here's a historian who spends his life looking backwards at the past, and but whose main message is like, we can't really, all we have is to look forward. Really, what we all we can do really is, we're in the present. We can look back and learn, but essentially we can't change the past. So all we can do is look forward. So where do you find hope?
I don't have a lack of hope actually. I'm not losing
Well, yeah,
it.
I can see that. I mean, like, and to go back to that question of being the entrepreneur, of the person who creates something, of it's fundamentally optimistic and it's hopeful.
It's like you you understand that you cannot do different way. You are unstoppable. I see my 10 months old kid, and he like runs all the time. He can't sit. He's like so curious.
Hmm.
He's really unstoppable. And I see that most people who just become old, especially like 40, 50, or just whatever, they just become very inert and passive.
Hmm.
They don't believe in themselves, and they're just they're just rolling to the end of life. It's bad. And I consider that most of people's lives is finished when they consider it to be finished. So you don't have
Hmm.
to even think of it. And also, I just want to share one thought about this not end of the world, is that I mentioned that people in Ukraine are kind of disappointed, like most of them are disappointed, and they have they really lost hope. And I
Hmm.
hear thoughts like this from like men mostly. They say, okay, I had work, I had like job, business, whatever. Now I'm losing it. The only way I have is just to take the gun and go to the war. So it's
Hmm.
when people just want to go to the war and they just want to protect, this is one thing. But when they had everything like family, business, like job, whatever, and they say, I lost everything and the only thing I have is just fight, it's very, very depressive. I mean,
Sure.
it's like saying I'm done.
Yeah, to say the least.
So yeah, and I have many close people in Ukraine, and I want to like share hope with them, and I
Hmm.
know that there will be much more happening in Ukraine and whenever they will find themselves, but they shouldn't just stop on this or stuck on this very moment.
Hmm.
And I myself, I had to find a lot of power to just to kick my ass to the new world, to change something in my life, for me, for my
Hmm.
family, and just I hope that I will create something good in this life, like many good things in this life. So I could not do this if I'm sitting on one place. So I had to move because of myself and for other people.
Sure. Yeah, no, I definitely get that. Um, it's a funny thing to be. Yeah, I mean, it's a funny thing to be. We're all living our lives, and this notion of hope for the future and optimism and people, trying to figure out like the whole promise. I think of the U.S. and probably what attracted you was this idea of potential and possibility or hope for a better tomorrow. But what? Okay, so I'm going to leave you. I'm going to give you the space to have the last word. And yeah, like let's say for somebody who's completely outside of the Ukraine, of Hong Kong, of Canada, of the US, whatever it is, what can we tell them, or what can you tell them as a kind of human life lesson?
Um, what I noted, like learned for the last 1 or 2 years, is mostly life is always much, much, much bigger than you expect it to be. I have like traveled a lot, like a lot of countries and so on, but now when I just moved, I discover so many things. And I discovered so many things during war, and we all discovered many things during pandemic. So life always is much bigger, much nicer. Sometimes it's harder, sometimes it's rewarding. But if you are open to its prizes, you'll definitely get them. And I want to say that it's always worth going out of your like normal situation of your comfort zone, the box, whatever, and just
Hmm.
search for more. One of my favorite like bloggers, he has this phrase, just get out of your home and get busy. You'll always find
Hmm.
something rewarding.
Get out of your home and get busy. Yuriy Polyashko. Thank you for your time, for the for sharing your story for this trip. Thank you very much.
I admired this talk, Ron, and really, really great time.
Shooting it raw?
Yes, shooting it raw.